One study technique that I wish I knew sooner to get better grade, stay 100% productive all the time, and stay motivated is using Pomodoro technique. If you are someone like me who is very lazy, I don't want to study, get overwhelmed with a lot of works that I need to do, and you tend to procrastinate, struggle with concentration, and get distracted easily, no worries, I've got your back. Because in this video, I'm gonna show you some study tips to get better grades and how you can increase your productivity and concentration by 100%. Hi beautiful angel, if you don't know me, I'm Believe. I started this YouTube channel because I want to help a lot of you guys to become the best version of yourself. I usually share about my experience and how you can actually increase your self-esteem and become the best version of yourself. I recently received a comment from Emma from Portugal. Hi Emma. She wanted me to make a video about some study tips, how to get motivation and how to get an excellent grade. So Emma, this video is for you and obviously for all of you guys who are watching my video. I hope that it could help you to get better grades, to achieve whatever you want in life, because women like us, we have beauty and brain. When I was in school, I figured out that there is this technique to study, which is Pomodoro technique, which Harvard students usually use on their studying. How can I apply this technique into my study? And the result was really good because it increased my concentration and I become more productive way more than I was before. So what is actually Pomodoro technique? Pomodoro technique asks you to have a focused work session where you are allowed to have a frequent break in between the sessions. To get a work down, one task done, you allocate 25 minutes of focused time, and every 25 minutes you take break for 5 minutes. That sounds really good, isn't it? The quality of your studying in 25 minutes is way better than setting up yourself for 3-hour study. Obviously, I'm a lazy person, so if I have an option to study for 25 minutes or as less as possible, why not? And I believe that we don't really need to study for that long or even to get our work done if we allocate a focused time where we fully concentrate to get the work done. Let me be real. If you're setting up for today, I'm going to study for 3 hours non-stop. I'm not gonna be on my phone. Let me just be real. Realistically, we are not capable of being focused in 3 hours straight because our focus span cannot stay for that long. And how many times did you pick up your phone and scrolling on TikTok in 3 hours? So many times as I did. And at the end of 3 hours, I usually feeling very overwhelmed and just feeling so tired, like I feel burnt out. So that's actually a wrong technique to study. That's probably why you're asking, I've been sitting for hours and hours, but I don't really understand anything. I don't get the work done as I expected. That's probably because you only need 25 minutes. Because after 3 hours, your focus is already in another side of the world. So this is the best study technique that I wish I knew sooner. This technique actually helped me so much when I was in school and when I was in uni to stay focused on studying and not get burnt out. And obviously, I'm still applying this to my work today. But guys, this is just the beginning. On the rest of this video, I'm gonna share some study tips that I usually use to get better grades, both in school and uni, when it's combined with Pomodoro technique. As I said before, I'm a lazy person and I don't want to study for hours and hours, and I want to go home early. I still want to watch some Netflix. I still want to do my skincare routine. But obviously, I want to get better grades. So you guys better watch until the end of the video because I'm gonna share all of my study tips to get better grades. Study tip number 1, create a schedule. Grab your journal. If you don't have any journal, buy in the store, get a journal, or if you like everything online, just sign up on Notion, just put your email there. You probably already heard about Notion and how many things that you can actually do with Notions, and they have a lot of templates that you can use to organize your life. My number 1 tip in scheduling your time is blocking out a specific time for you to study. When I was back in school, I had this little journal from Typo every single year. I usually plan my week a week in advance. So for studying next week, I already planned it a week before because I want to know how many time I need to allocate into my weekly agenda. So for example, I allocate Monday to study math, Tuesday evening for physics, Wednesday for chemistry, Friday night for English because I took English lesson. So if you don't know me, English is actually my second language. My first language is Indonesian. When I was back in my hometown in Jakarta, I took an English lesson. But yeah, thank God I did it because now I can fully speak in English fluently. And then on Sunday, it's just for rest. So scheduling or blocking up your time and putting in your calendar is actually really good for you to know which day that you want to study each subject. And also, as long as you already have a plan, the schedule can be very flexible. If there's something that is more important on the day, you can also be flexible and move things around, but you already have a template that you can use. I usually put it very flexible depending on the priority of the week. So for example, if there is a Japanese test on Tuesday, instead of studying math on Monday, I will study Japanese because that's my priority. So in order to study well, we need to also learn about priority. That goes to study tips number 2. Prioritize your task. How can you actually prioritize your task better? First, you need to know what matters the most. What is something that is important for you? What is the most important task that you need to get done? This is the foundation of knowing what is to prioritize because you know what is important, you know what needs to be done first based on the deadline. Because sometimes we have so many things that we need to do, we don't know what to prioritize because everything seems very important. But no, everything is not that important. There's a quote from this book, The Plan, Manage Your Time Like a Lazy Genius by Kendra Adachi. It says that when you care about something, you will try to do it very well. But if you care about everything, you will do nothing. So if you have a lot of lists that you need to do during the week, ask yourself, what is the most important task? There must be at least one thing that is the most important. It could be based on time, what is the most recent deadline, and which task that is needed to be done first. So when I'm studying, out of 100 things that I need to do, I always prioritize the most important tasks first. That's the first thing that I do when I sit down. If you have 2 different tasks that both are very important to you and it needs to be done, task A is so hard and it will take longer to finish, and task B is pretty much quick. Do the easiest task first. Do task B first. Because if I pick task A, which is very hard and takes a long time, I will spend a lot of time to trying to solve these problems and trying to work this one, and I feel very unmotivated when I know I haven't done any of my list. So I usually always do the quick and the easiest task first. Always, because when you tick that and you feel like, oh my god, I have done something, it will motivate you. So motivation comes when you have achieved something. So do the easiest and the quickest task first because you will get that dopamine level to make you feel motivated to do more. That's actually my tips for getting motivation. Study tip number 3, break down into smaller tasks. So this is what I normally do. I put on the big task, studying chapter 1, but I also put on small tasks, what I need to be done, because then I will also remember every single little details that I need to do. And then when I tick everything, it makes me feel really good. And especially when you're using this Pomodoro technique. So what I normally do is if I want to study chapter 1 from my biology class, and then I will have 5 more tasks, which is all of the headings that is in the chapter. But then I need to think as well that all of the small tasks will actually need to fit into this 25 minutes of span, because that's how long I will study for each task before I need a break. Why do I do that? I want to stay focused and I want to get the work done in 25 minutes. So I break down into smaller tasks that I can fit in 25 minutes before I have a break. And also normally when I study and concentrate and I already focus on one thing, and if I have a break, all the focus is just gone. And it's kind of hard for me to get it back again. So it's better for me to divide the small tasks that will fit into 25 minutes. Study tip number 4, find a friend to study or form a study group. This is actually can help you out or can kill you. It depends on the people that you're studying together. As long as you know that your friends have the same vision as you and they want also to study and using the best of the time to actually study. But some of the time, there are people that there are some friends that when I study together, we didn't end up studying and we're just chatting around, we're hanging out, which is for me, it's not a good study group. Study group is for you to study. You can hang out another time. So make sure that if you want to form a study group, make sure that you and your friends are on the same boat. When I was in school, I think study group was really helpful for me because me and my friends, we will go to my friend's place or my place to study and we will hire a private tutor and then teach us. But I feel like if hiring a private tutor is not very common in your country, being with your friends and just having someone that actually can help you out and teach you, or you can learn from each other as well, it's actually really helpful. Because sometimes I just want to have someone to study with me, to be there sitting in a library or something, and it just makes me feel motivated. I remember when I was in uni, I was so lazy. I had this big assignment. It's a report kind of thing, and then I knew if I studied in my room by myself, I wouldn't do it. So then I called my friend Honey and I asked her do you want to go study together? And then we just go to the library. So me and her, almost every day, we met in the library to just get our report done. She did her own thing, I did my own thing, but then having someone to be there sitting next to me and then having someone to brainstorm together, just exchange opinions about what we need to do and learn from each other is actually very helpful. So having someone there, it's really good. I was so lucky to have her. I was so lucky to study together with her because we're just there supporting each other, because uni and school can be really hard. Assignments week are the worst day of my life. Study tip number 5, ask the magic question. My magic question is, what can you do now to make things easier later? That's what I usually ask myself if I want to do something. When I was in school, I was really bad at studying on subjects that I don't like, and I'd never really listened to the teacher. And then on the day before the exam, I usually just trying to learn everything in one semester, which is kind of crazy. It left me feeling really stressed, and I wish I studied more. I wish I didn't do it last minute. So if I could go back in time and ask myself, what can I do at that moment to make things easier later? I will do things differently. What I will do, I will sitting at the front of the class, I will taking notes, because taking notes will help me out later in life. It will help me out to actually remember things and then just review the things a day before the exam. I will also ask a lot of questions to the teacher if I don't understand, because I always leave it last minute. I will be oh, whatever, I'm just gonna figure it out later. Well, no, if I could understand on the day when the teacher is explaining, it's actually saving me a lot of time to study later on. With doing all of this work, it actually helped me out on a day before the exam, because I can just review and then reading all of my previous notes. Basically, what I mentioned before, it was me creating a system that works for me that can help me out later in life. It also helped me out to make things easier later on exam day or during assignment week. So to make things easier for you to study, you need to know what system that will work well with you. And it can be personalized only for you. Apply this system in all of your subjects. If you're applying this, it's just like a template, so you know what to do. So the system is like your own template that can help you out later on. Study tips number 6, master pivoting. Sometimes we already created a plan that we want to do in a day, but then sometimes there are just circumstances where those plans fall apart. Pivoting actually allows you to adjust your plan according to the circumstances. It allows you to adapt yourself, adapt your plans, your goals, and approach based on the current circumstances and any unexpected situation. By mastering pivoting, we gain a skill where we could be resilient and flexible when our plan or schedules fall apart. Sometimes we have planned ourselves to study 5 chapters in a day, but unfortunately, sometimes we take longer to study 1 chapter that we expected. So, in mastering pivoting, you gotta ask these questions. How do you adjust your study schedule to suit your needs? Is there any specific subjects that you need to study more so you could fully ready. All the things that I mentioned before, it will be nothing if you don't put things into actions. So there is a homework for you to do. After watching this video, I want you to do these actions to get better grades. Number 1, schedule your time and have a weekly agenda. Number 2, break down things in smaller tasks and write them all into your calendar or your agenda. And set a task based on how much you can get done in 25 minutes. Number 3, when you're studying, set a timer for 25 minutes for your focused time and do not do anything, do not look at your phone, just allow 25 minutes for you to study. Number 4, if you haven't have any study group, go out and then find your friends, ask them up, do you want to study together? Number 5, just make it fun. So I hope that this video could help you to study more, get motivations, and also get an excellent grade. If you have any topics that you want me to talk about, you can comment down below and I'll see you in the next video.